which I...
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the daunting. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister at the Temple of Justice.
Access to our money will put in the bank.
As always said, there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which I...
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the daunting. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
It's 10 a.m. and it's time for ATN's Open Conversation, and good to have you all on the show. So ATN Open Conversation is a network flashy political platform through which trending political news, events and stories are discussed with stakeholders. Through this conversation, ATN uses political talks about specific issues, party system and actors to explore hope and engender positive impact to the society. Today on ATN Open Conversation, our first point of call is going to be November 11, Bayelsa State APC's victory despite candidates' disqualification.
And still on November 11, we're giving INEC chairman benefit of doubt coming from the PDP.
In Edo State 2024, Labour Party governorship hope for Sagi vows to tackle insecurity others.
Still on November 11, Imo State election will be free, fair, credible, coming from Governor Uzodinma.
And in politics, Ondo APC, PDP trade words over Akeredolu's absence.
Academic records, we have my change of name is properly documented. This is coming from Atiku.
In politics, Ganduje vows to protect APC's mandate in Nasarawa State.
Still in Nasarawa State, we have Al Makura advocates unity in APC, applauds party chairman Bello.
Our guest on the show this morning is Ambassador Honorable Ernest T. Roland Douglas. He is here this morning as a socio-political analyst. Stay with us. We'll come back to you after the break.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister at the Temple of Justice.
Access to our money will put in the bank.
As always said, there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which I...
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the daunting. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of Justice.
Access to our money we put in the bank.
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which are you.
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the daunting. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Thank you for joining us once again on Open Conversation. Before we go on, I'd like to quickly welcome Honorable NST Roland Douglas to ATN Open Conversation. Good to have you here, sir.
Good morning, and thank you for having me here.
You're welcome, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
And now, everyone, let's start this scope of Open Conversation from Bayelsa State. The All Progressive Congress National Campaign Council for the November 11 governorship poll in Bayelsa State has said the party will triumph the election in spite of the disqualification of its candidate, Chief Timipre Silva. The chairman of the council is Gombe State Governor Inuwa Yahaya. He stated this when he spoke with newsmen in Yenagoa. Yahaya said, who led members of the National Working Committee of the APC to Bayelsa State, said the visit was to strengthen the synergy between the national leadership and the state chapter in order to ensure the party's victory in the election. Yahaya said the party's candidate possessed the requisite experience and skills to govern the state in addition to being widely accepted by the people. Yahaya further explained that the postponement of the official launch of the party's campaign was to allow for adequate preparations to receive President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for the event, adding that a new date for the launch will be communicated soonest. We therefore use this medium to call on all our teaming supporters and well-wishers to come out en masse for the campaign rallies. All right. The confidence with which these people operate, one would begin to wonder, do they operate a different constitution other than the 1999 constitution, or is there something we are missing? On what ground are they exercising this audacity that they are still in the race? Because we know, as at the last check, the court said Silva cannot be sitting in or running for as a governor because he's taken oath of office twice. We'd like to bring you in here.
Well, for me, it's interesting because it appears our Nigerian politicians has this way of going around the constitution itself. And probably maybe over the years, they've been able to accomplish that. That's why they seem to be demonstrating this level of confidence. Otherwise, the constitution is quite clear. You know, he has taken oath of office twice. And also the timing, you know, to swap a candidate for that office is no longer feasible. Because, I mean, we're talking about probably about 3 weeks plus when they will all go to the polls. And then here they are still talking about having a candidate to participate. Except, of course, maybe they are going to have an accelerated hearing for those who want to probably appeal against this is a nullification, or maybe they have a way of getting an instant waiver to substitute the Timipre Silva himself. But if we recall what happened in the last election in Bayelsa State also, where the governor had just 2 days to be sworn in, and telling us that they're going to postpone the election to some other month.
Sir, you know, there should be respect for the rule of law. And then if Chief Timipre Silva, the standard flag bearer for his party, APC, if he was on his own in this journey, you know, pushing, you know, even against the rulings of the court, if it was alone, it could mean, or, you know, it could, there could be some take that, you know, he's just trying to get to hit the rock alone. But now the national, he's getting support from the national level. And then at the middle of all of this, we have the law that should be respected. How do we explain this kind of, attitude coming from the APC?
I'm actually baffled because I know we don't have independent candidature, either in the Constitution or in the reviewed electoral laws. So I really don't understand what is going on. And I beg to refer also to the River State issue, because this is where the governor also had a situation where he was now operating alone. The West Indian Principal Service is operating alone, and then suddenly the national body have woken up to want to give a semblance of backing. It's 24 hours in Nigeria. It's a lot can happen. So, I mean, let's see how they are going to, manipulate this scenario. But the law must be respected because we work with our Nigerian constitution and also guided by electoral laws. So if they are going to, circumvent it, then there must probably be an accelerated alteration of both the Nigerian constitution and our electoral laws to accommodate what we are seeing ongoing. And like I said, they are in charge of the National Assembly. Who knows, they can get up one day and tell us they've reviewed and added this clause, and then it gets an accelerated hearing, and then the next 24 hours, the president signs it to law. But as long as what we have subsists, I don't see any progress beyond what it is right now.
Well, during the Goodluck Jonathan time, where the doctrine of necessity was brought in to ensure he becomes a president, to him running for office, which would have meant taking office a third time, this issue came to the fore, which led to the amendment of the Constitution to make it clearly stated that no one who is taking an elective position will be sworn in for the same position 3 consecutive times. Now, these are lawmakers, one way or the other. They know what these things, they are politicians, they know what is written in the Constitution and all of that. However, the ruling power, the president of the country exercise enormous power. Within him, he just created a picture where the National Assembly can review a law, and then suddenly in 24 hours, the court can rescind on its position. In the fight to establish a genuine democratic system, are we running to destroy ourselves? Are we making a mockery of democracy? Or do we really understand that democracy ought to be by the people, for the people, primarily? Or is there something else that the ruling party is pushing? Of course, Ganduje made the same statement. Now the team that's coming to prepare for Tinubu's coming, that's the president of Nigeria coming to Bayelsa State. You need to come and do what? Inaugurate a campaign council to do what exactly? Where the Constitution and the court of law, a competent court of jurisdiction, have said no to the candidacy of this particular party's gubernatorial candidate. So what are we looking at here?
When it is convenient, we make references to the American forms of democracy that we are copying. That's when it's convenient for them. Otherwise, it's difficult to understand what we practice in this country by semblance of civilian rule. Because in democracy, as we all know from this basic civics in the primary school that we learned, it's government of the people, for the people, and by the people.
Yeah.
But here we are, a group of people have made themselves above the law. And so they think that, as long as it suits their purpose, they can tinker and play around with our constitutional laws and circumvent it. But I'm yet to see how they're going to overturn what has just happened, because time window is actually the major issue here. And so I don't know how between now and the 11th of November, how this situation is going to turn out that way. Maybe it's also an avenue for them to go do jamboree and spend some money. Otherwise, by law, and if we are operating by law, I don't see any way out of this situation as at this moment.
All right, let's leave the drama as it plays out while we dive straight to the next conversation. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, has said it would give the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, the benefit of the doubt and hold him to his renewed pledge to deploy technology to enhance the transparency of the November 11 governorship elections in Bayelsa, Kogi, and Imo states. National Publicity Secretary of the party, Honorable Debo Ologun Abba, said this in a press conference in Abuja on Sunday. Olugunaba explained that the party and Nigerians will be watching in line with the INEC chairman's promise in a recent public engagement with the electorate in Kogi State, where he was heard telling the people that INEC will fully deploy the IREB, beavers, and electronically transfer the results in real time. The party said INEC has a unique opportunity to redeem its battered image by sticking to the rules. All right, this is like somehow Tales by Moonlight in its sense, because even a child will really be questioning why this whole thing. When you tell a child something is going to be like this and you don't do it, and you tell a child it's going to be like this, I don't know what we expect, but the message is clear. Now, we have Professor Mahmoud Yakubu bringing to the fore again the same promises that he made to Nigerians. What do we expect from this? Is it a kind of him trying to right the wrongs, or trying to still play the same game we had before now?
I think this is an indirect damage control Yakubu is trying to present to Nigerians, but unfortunately, the trust deficit, it's a lot more stronger than him coming out to come and talk about an off-season 3-state elections. In the same line, I expected this man to have resigned or be fired. But here we are, a man who went to Chatham House. The whole world was watching. Even if he wants to deny the statements he has made in Nigeria with his, commissioners and all that. I think whatever comes out from him as an individual or from that INEC of this, we should take it with a pinch of salt. And I can bet you that it's not going to be different from what we have just seen in February and March. Because he's been consistent. And I expected that with what is ongoing, the mood of the country, he should have been sensitive enough, not to come out and start making such statements in public. And it's lucky he's making it in the public where people, are not feeling so, offensive to probably respond to his statement by insulting him. But here is a country where we don't seem to appreciate the fact that we've got a constitutional provisions being made, and then we also, from the constitutional provisions being made, have an electoral laws that should have been, applied and observed to its, to its logical conclusion. So this statement he has just made, for me, I think is just, it's neither here nor there, because nobody's going to take him serious. Because the general party right now and the anger from this election fallout definitely will not give him any benefit of doubt that he's going to do anything different from what has already happened.
All right, so the PDP saying they are going to give INEC chairman benefit of doubt that they are going to deliver. You have just said we don't know where this benefit is going to be tied on. Is it that a man who traveled abroad and makes bogus statements couldn't stand by it, and the court of the land agreed with him? Now, on the side of the PDP, coming out to say, let's give him benefit of doubt, are they trying to play the devil's advocate in any way?
Yeah, but absolutely. I agree with this, your last statement, because for me, PDP, APC, I don't see any difference in it except for the nomenclature.
So to what end? To what end exactly? Because if you're going to be an opposition party, there are responsibilities that you're expected to carry as a party. Saying you're going to give an institution that is yet to give credible stewardship account on how it delivered on the general election, and coming to say, playing the devil's advocates, like you said, we're going to give you benefits of doubt. Where is this benefit? What is it going to be tied to? To what end?
No, it's rather unfortunate that we have political parties who even could not conduct their primaries transparently and identify those who are actually coming to serve. And for me, like I said earlier, PDP, APC, they're all the same. I mean, we have a situation where an election was conducted, their presidential candidate is still in court over this same issue, and then they come out again and start telling us that they want to give. So if you have that, then why are you still in court? And you close down the challenge.
I'm just going to ask, is this not self-indicting?
I mean, this is that's why I keep telling you.
Is there something else? Is Atiku giving up on the case, or is there something else we're looking at?
This is a kite they are flying to see how Nigerians are going to respond to their statement, because you can't be in court because you are dissatisfied with the performance of this body. And then on the other hand, you come again and say you want to give them benefit of doubt.
Maybe it's a sign of having forgiven the past sins of what INEC has done.
No, that's, if you want to demonstrate forgiveness, withdraw your case. And then
because because the primary reason why they are in court, for instance, is because according to them, INEC declared the wrong result, and that there are other issues they are bringing to the fore. INEC is at the center of all the contention that is at the Supreme Court, from the Presidential Tribunal to the petition to the Supreme Court right now. So I'm trying to figure out what exactly would make Ologun Agba make these statements at the point when your principal is still in court. He has even gone
beyond our shores.
Just to prove a point that the man who is seated there, and you are using the party's platform to give kudos to the one body that has created, is at the center of the confusion with our elections. And what are we supposed to make of this? Is this like a self-sabotage of some sort?
It's
a conscious act?
This is a political party that came, when we were embracing democracy, so to say. And apparently, because it's strange bedfellows that came together, at any given point in time, you see the individual interest, not necessarily the Nigerian citizens' interest, not also the political party interest, but basically the individual interest being played as it suits them. For me, right now, what the publicity secretary has said, it's in complete in contradiction with what their presidential candidate currently is doing at the Supreme Court right now.
Interesting times ahead.
Oh yes.
Okay, let's see to this governorship hopeful Honorable Obemudie Osage of the Labour Party has vowed to rid Edo State of all various forms of insecurity bedeviling the state. The Labour Party gubernatorial aspirant has part of his agenda to deliver democracy dividends to the good people of Edo State, also highlighting how he will create jobs for many unemployed youths in the state. In a video shared by a Labour Party chieftain, Maurice Moye Obemudie Osage, was spotted giving security tips to local security agents in the state. Maurice noted that Obemudie Basi Osage, who is also in the race for governor of Edo State, donated some equipment to local vigilantes in Edo to fight the scourge of insecurity in the state. The security equipment donation, sources noted, was part of his promises to fight the scourge of insecurity in the state. Recall that Edo State is one of many states in Nigeria battling insecurity, with kidnapping and unemployment rates high on the streets. Okay, that's a nice card play, a nice play out of cards, You're like doing the talk, putting it at the middle of it all, so that's a nice campaign strategy coming from Osage himself. What's your reaction and take on this, sir?
I laugh because it seems like we have this narrative that whenever we want to make ourselves, being taken serious, we go to those areas where we're having challenges that has continuously, stared on us, despite the humongous amount of money invested in the security apparatus. I'm worried because whenever these political gladiators come into the public domain, they seem not to realize the situation we have, which is, we know that criminality is becoming so rampant because of unemployment and because of having those environmental issues that could have been tackled to mitigate the escalation of these insecurity challenges. Let him set up factories. There are factories there that are shut down. Let him set up factories if he wants us to take him serious. Because, it's time we begin, Nigerians begin to engage these aspirants whenever they come on the stage. What is his pedigree? What was he doing before this time? And how has he? It's not because you have a month or you have some months to an election, you come, you donate certain equipment. No, that's not the way to go. If you're truly coming to serve, there should have been some kind of pedigree. There should be records of, okay, these are the key performance indices that are verifiable that he has done, and then they can now fly the kite of how he's going to, curtail the prevailing insecurity issues, not only in Edo State, but also within his surrounding environments as well. Here is a country where even the states don't share intelligence. They don't share even economic opportunities. Lagos is going there and leading the way, both in his combatant of insecurity and other things. And I expect other states who probably maybe lack ideas to partner with them and take some of these, positive milestones and then integrate it into their own system as it suits the environment. They are not even doing that. They haven't even talked to themselves, not to talk of the national level. So for me, it's the usual slogans that come. We have a situation where at the National Assembly, we've got the Labour Party, we've got the NNPP, we've got the Youth Party and all that. And they were bringing anti-Nigerian issues. You are going to spend 67 billion naira on frivolities. When Nigerians' refineries are not functional, Nigerians don't have all their factories operating, and then you have just a handful in this over 200 million population coming to tell us about vehicles and wardrobes and all that. And these same people who are claiming to now represent Nigeria to change the narrative, we're all there. We didn't hear one objection from any of them. And they're all beneficiaries of this. So please, let the Edo people engage him in particular as to what has he done within this period before he now threw his cap into the ring. And then maybe from there they can take him serious. That's my take on that.
All right. Edo 2024. Osage is on the early run, early rising, if you mean, and now he's already preempting what he's going to do and all of that. We also saw him, he released the video. In the video, we saw him giving security tips to the vigilante groups. I don't know if he's a security expert. I'm yet to read up on his profile, who he is and all of that. Why do you think that, let's take for instance, I'm from Abia State. I want to contest for the governorship position in Abia State in 2027. And I won't do anything. I'll wait until 1 year, few months to the time, and then that's when I'll start telling the people what I would do. No fresh ideas. Basically saying there was an issue, security, you do this, security is rising in all of us. Why do you think? I also asked that question in Blowout. Uzodinma going to Okigwe when the women rallied around him. I hope Uzodinma and Ike Johakim was coming out to say because Okigwe holds a historic place, there is need to develop Okigwe and all of that. As embarrassing as that statement, Ike Johakim was once a governor.
Oh, yes.
Uzodinma is going for his second tenure. Yes, Okigwe is one of the oldest historic sites. With a lot of, that's one of the places, if there's going to be a museum, a state museum, for instance, for tourism, that's where we should find that in the most. But somehow, these two men are coming out to talk about developing or building Okigwe in his second tenure. So why do you think politicians wait for the time when they need election or re-election to come to tell people stories of what they want to do?
You know, the politicians have developed some kind of psychological distractions. One, they have weaponized hunger and poverty. And so a lot of Nigerians, especially the electorate, no longer rationalize when some of these issues are brought on the front burner. But I'm glad that, right now we're having a crop of journalists who are investigative, who are now taking time to go that extra mile to investigate some of these individuals, their past records, to actually know if these are people that the citizens can entrust their state treasury and their security upon. Now, Hakim himself, when he was a governor, what were his achievements that he will now come and stand on behalf of Imo people to tell the electorates to vote for Uzodimma? Here was a governor who asked applicants to pay money to get forms for employment. The employment never came. Their monies were not refunded. Sometimes I ask, don't these people have shame? Don't they have conscience? That they come out to the public, they tell us all sorts of things, and then when they get there, they have this permanent amnesia that reverses their brain, their medulla oblongata, and then they begin to now talk from every side of their mouth when it suits them. And I'm really worried because, what Uzodimma should carry his cross all alone, because the indices are there, the performance indices are there. The people can no longer be hoodwinked and be sandwiched into this follow approach, because it's based on your performance that you should be seeking for re-election and reassurance. And I think that Nigerians, we have woken it up, and the investigative journalism we have now with the crop of young guys that are in that industry are beginning to open our eyes. And thank God we're not limited to the state government media houses. Now people have access to every information that they so desire, because of the past researches that have been done and because of the introduction of technology. And so I feel sorry for those who follow them probably because of stomach infrastructure. But I think it's time we begin to change this narrative, that any politician that wants to come to take on elective positions should tell us what they have achieved, what they have done as a private citizen, what they have done in the past when they held sway in public offices, before they come out and start giving us these fairy tale stories.
All right, now let's get to November 11 issue. The group whose focus would be to dislodge any campaign calumny against Uzodimma, as well as mobilize voters for him in the forthcoming November governorship election, was inaugurated at the weekend by the governor. Also, the group led by their facilitator Eugene Dibiabu, member representing Ohaji, Egbema, Oguta, and Oru West, and the Federal House of Representatives, endorsed Uzodimma for a second term. During the ceremony, Uzodimma, while speaking at the occasion, urged the voters to defend their vote after casting their ballot to prevent manipulation. The governor reassured the electorate, particularly the Imo youth, of their safety during and after casting their votes. He said, "We shall create a conducive environment that will guarantee wealth creation, poverty alleviation, provision of scholarship, provision of standard education where civil servants will receive their salaries. Infrastructure will be provided and Imo people will make money, prosperity and development achieved." While responding to this endorsement for a second tenure by the IPM members, the governor thanked the group for its wonderful support, noting that the march for a new Imo and the road map is largely dependent on the members of the IPM. He reiterated that he will continue to serve by way of providing tangible and intangible dividends of democracy, and expressed gratitude to members of IPM for their share of support, assuring that he will not take such support for granted. Governor Uzodimma has equally expressed absolute trust on INEC, noting that the body had recorded successes in the past in Anambra, Edo, and Osun State, and noted that INEC will do the same in the November election of Imo, Kogi, and Bayelsa State. In his address, the convener facilitator Dibiabu pointed out that the essence of the formation of the organization is to support the governor's re-election through quality political education, to identify successes in governance and how to inspire people to vote in the right direction. He said Imo progressive movements and are working with the other similar organizations as fishers of voters and supporters and promoters for the re-election of the governor opposite in mind in November 11, 2023 governorship election in Imo State. He said IPM remains the eternal compass as they sojourn together for the governor of Imo State. Well, the chairman of the occasion, Dr. Ikedio Hakim, a former governor of Imo State, described the inauguration and campaign flag off as a grand finale of all endorsements and campaigns. He reminded the gathering that the Charter of Equity is real and cannot implement self but through somebody, and the person for now, he said, is Governor Hope Uzodimma. If we have a system where the excesses committed in office, albeit with under immunity, are checked, do you think the like of Ikedio Hakim will have the audacity to parade himself before Imo people? And I'm asking this question. He was at the women event in Okigwe, like I said. This is another group of a number of young people who have come to give their endorsement for the governor in support, called themselves IPM, Imo Progressive Movement. Now, why they are in their right to do all of this, what I do not understand is the role Ikedio Hakim think he should be playing in the re-election of a man that is not collectively accepted by Imo people in the first place.
Don't forget the circumstance with which the Hope Uzodimma came into power in Imo State. I mean, elections were held, and he was in the 5th position, and then all of a sudden, he appeared as a governor. I mean, this was this was in the religious parlance a miracle. And then I thought that he would have, you know, with that opportunity, build the confidence to the Imo electorate. But what are we seeing there? Whenever you monitor the other, radio stations and television stations, all you see are people who disguise as government officials, whether truly or not, destroying opposition banners, destroying the opposition offices, and attacking people like left, right, and center. And I think that by now, even with technology being introduced, we should have begun to go beyond this primitive way of seeking elective offices in this country. Now, you have not created an enabling environment. I mean, I remember in Rivers State, the past governor was creating order, executive order this, order that, and see, that seems to be a precedent which most of these governors are now using to muzzle up the opposition. And when you don't have opposition, how will you then realize? Because, you know, the sycophants we have upped their ante by telling us, giving us all these templates of how progressive they are. Who are these people in the first place? But you see, the government resources are in his hands, and they can coin it in any way and, you know, waste the money on sycophants coming to precinct for a man who his performances are there to see. What are the road conditions? What is the employment situation? What are the state's educational institutions' situation? These are key performance indices that I expected the governor to probably engage other aspirants or the media houses there to engage him on his performance, so that he can also display what he has achieved, to have the confidence to seek for re-election. So Hakim himself, for me, it's already a dead horse. So coming now to tell us, I mean, it's just like asking the former governor who had Ministry of Happiness to come and join him, to come and start telling us, Imo people to come and, I mean, come on, we've reduced governance to such an absurdity that sometimes I also feel embarrassed that I'm a Nigerian with this kind of people parading themselves all over the place.
Okay, Hope Uzodimma, he, like his name says, Hope, he has to an extent actually come to have tackled some sensitive issues that should stand as an advantage, a comparative advantage for him. Okay. Is it okay to say that aside all of these gimmicks and all of these tantrums around those things that he has done, because we know that remarkably he has actually done some, he has some good feats so far. Can it actually be to his advantage in the coming election?
Well, here is a country where the constitution says if you're a governor or you're a president, these are your responsibilities. Now, those responsibilities suddenly has now become, unique features for campaigning. A governor, you are there, you are being employed by, by the citizenry to provide the basic things that we should take for granted. But those basic things, even with all these humongous resources, are not being provided. And so when they come on, they now begin to use it as a means of, campaigning for positions. I have nothing personal against Hope Uzodimma, but for God's sake, the Imo people they are very smart and they are good business people and they travel around, and so they should be able to, engage him. Let them go into, engagements and find out what exactly, comparatively he has done different from the immediate past governors in Imo State that should also give him that probably advantage to seek for re-election. I think we should be asking the right questions. Look, you've been there for this length of period, and you had this humongous amount of resources, both as IGR and also the federal government subventions. What have we achieved? We should look at it. Is it in the education aspect? Is it in the road infrastructure? Is it in the hospital? These are the questions Nigerians and citizens in Imo State should be asking. And if they've been able to create this yardstick and he's been evaluated based on that, well, as an individual, if he's been able to achieve that, why not? But if he has not, then please, they should stop playing these templates, the sycophants all over the country with all these politicians, because they can afford it, begin to occupy, the media space and be distracting people who want to talk about real governance. And real governance is beyond just, you arrange some people and they come out, wear uniform and generate a lot of noise.
All right, we'll go on a short break, and when we get back, we'll dive straight to the next conversation. Stay with us.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of Justice.
Access to our money will move in the bank.
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the Tonte. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of Justice.
Access to our money will put in the bank.
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which I am.
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the Tonte. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of Justice.
Access to our money will put in the bank.
I welcome back to Open Conversation, everyone. Ruling All Progressive Congress in Ondo State and the main opposition party, the People's Democratic Party, traded words on Sunday over an alleged plot to cause mayhem in the state and the continued absence of the state's governor, Rotimi Akeredolu. Now, the APC accused the PDP of plotting to disrupt the peace being enjoyed in the state and claimed to have uncovered plots to instigate a crisis in Akure. The PDP stated that the ruling party is afraid of its own shadow, asserting that the PDP is not known for violence. This comes as the state publicity secretary of the APC, Alex Kalajaye, alleges that the opposition party in the state has concluded all plans to cause mayhem in the state starting today being Monday. Kalajaye, in a statement, disclosed that the planned protest to cause mayhem was designed to create a semblance of political instability in the state and portray the ruling party in a bad light. However, the PDP Publicity Secretary Kennedy Perete described the allegation as laughable and said the ruling party is only afraid of its own shadow. Perete urged the ruling party to address Akeredolu's absence from the state and stop the diversionary tactics. He noted that Akeredolu has been back in the country for over a month and expressed dismay over the governor's refusal to return to the state, stating that his absence has caused the total collapse of governance in the state. Kalajaye maintained that Governor Akeredolu, despite his absence, has been discharging his official duties and responsibilities without any hitch, irrespective of his location. He said the state chapter of the APC was disturbed by the information and condemned the alleged plans to instigate political upheaval and create disaffection among the people. He said, "We are very optimistic that our governor, your performing governor, will be in our midst in a matter of days. It is imperative," he said, "to state that any political gathering or activity at this time could easily be hijacked beyond the control and the capacity of the organizers. We therefore call on security agencies to be vigilant and ensure that every gathering is well guided and closely monitored for compliance." The party is confident that the APC-led government in Ondo State will continue to invest in projects that have a direct bearing on the welfare of the people, of the public. According to Kalajaye, he, however, maintained that all arrangements had been concluded to disrupt the peace being enjoyed in the state ahead of next year's governorship election in the state. Kalajaye said the state has thus far been peaceful, organized, and enjoyed enviable political stability and industrial harmony. Okay, who are we starting with? Are we starting with the APs? I don't know how to do. Let me start from the man's health. I think that's the most critical part that will affect the people of the state. So when he returned about a month ago, I said on this set, it was an Anchor's chat, I remember, I said, it's good that he's back. We're happy he's back. But I hope he's not going to get into full activity, because looking at the picture shared by his wife, Betty, it didn't look like this man is fully ready, is fully back to his normal self to jump into the fray of governance. I think it was in less than 24 hours or thereabouts he began to doing the sacking the deputy governor's aides, and of course all the upheaval that ensued have been going on. Now, is it out of place for the PDP to say, "Come, where is our governor?" Because Akeredolu is the governor of Ondo State. Ondo people needs to know who is in charge of governance. If you particularly consider that he's been having a running battle with his deputy, whom we are not even sure what the state of that issue may be right now. So is it out of place for someone to raise the alarm to say, look, we've not seen the governor, and then it's disturbing. You guys need to speak up.
Absolutely not. Unfortunately, a precedent was set. It was in this same country, a man that, a lawyer that attained the status of SAN and an attorney general came out with brazen impunity that the president can rule from any part of the world. So why, if he can rule from any part of the world, why should we elect him to become the Nigerian president? And so don't forget, once a precedent is set, there are people that are going to follow it up. If I was the governor, I carried the law of Ondo State, I would have probably come and appreciated my deputy, who has been able to calm all the questions, not only opposition, but the citizens should have, gone into asking of his whereabouts. Here was a man who suddenly just went on medical leave and was, incommunicado. Because even if you're on a sick bed, through your deputy, you can reach out to the citizens, giving them reassurance, and then also guiding the governance of the state. This is not a personal estate. This is taxpayers of Ondo State that are keeping him and his deputy. But just like Edo State, look at what is going on. They are busy fighting over personal ambitions and personal interests at the expense. And this is also an oil-producing state. And you start wondering, with all the 13% derivation and all that, well, they are not even talking about the issues of the state, the challenges the states have. They are just personalizing these things. For the APC man talking about a PDP wants to set up, where are the mouthpiece? I expected even the labor unions there to start asking questions about the whereabouts of the governor, who are pretenders of representing the people. They are not even doing that. So if PDP, has taken interest in now beginning to ask, maybe because they feel election time is coming and they want to be relevant, that should be it. But we should create a platform where citizens must engage their governors, their presidents, so that, they will appreciate the fact that governance is about the people, for the people, and to the people. And not, a selected few having their interests being secured with the state's scarce resources. The deputy governor himself at the moment, I'm sure he's fighting for relevance because he's been touted to be impeached and is trying to get out of it. And why should we have that at this period when the governor has just arrived and where he should have been more focused on his health-related issue? I mean, for his wife to even be bold enough to come out to display such a picture, I commend her for it. But otherwise, they will have shielded him the way they are still shielding him till this moment. And then probably all the rumors that we are hitting the streets that he's no longer there would have gotten ticking and then make the deputy governor, to take charge of the governance in the state. So,
from the look of events here, I would believe that there wasn't really any reason for PDP to start having the bantering, the trade of words and all that, owing to the fact that they should. Is it okay to say that with what is going on between the governor and his deputy, the way?
From the beginning of this session, I said the two of them are the same. It's just name difference. In the morning, they are APC. In the evening, in the afternoon, they are PDP. In the night, they are Labour Party. That's who they are. They're all the same. So all of them are just looking for the personal benefits they are going to gain from any loophole that they have. And the governor coming to do all this, I expect them to definitely, take this stand because what they are looking for is relevance. And not that it's out of altruism or concern for the citizens of the state. So essentially, you should expect that they should do that because they feel that, that may give them some kind of, visibility to start demanding for votes when the election time comes. And also, them to be absorbed, because those are the things they will use during their campaign to say, we have X number of people from this political party moving over to this political party as if they are not the same. They're all the same.
Okay, let's get to the next conversation here. The Atiku Media Office has said that attempts by the presidency and the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, to drag former Vice President Atiku Abubakar into a forgery scandal is a calculated move to downplay the allegations against President Bola Tinubu. Atiku's media advisor Paul Ibe, in a statement issued Sunday, said Tinubu and his handlers should desist from making any further attempts to compare the president and Atiku. He insisted that all the names that Atiku bears are names that are traceable to his family tree. Ibe noted, contrary to Bola Ahmed Tinubu's forgery shopping allegation against Atiku, it is on record that the change of name of the former vice president reverting to Atiku Abubakar from Sadiq Abubakar is well documented in an affidavit dated 18th of August 1973, spanning over a period of 50 years, which incidentally is as old as the commencement of Tinubu's life of forgeries and lies, is in the public domain. He alleged that Tinubu has forged and lied about every aspect of his life, including his heritage, name and date of birth, as well as education certificates and work experience. Ibe added that the exposure of Tinubu's records at Chicago State University and the court-ordered deposition in the United States is only a tip of the iceberg. He added, the attempt by Bola Ahmed Tinubu to drag Atiku Abubakar into his drowning arena of forgery must be seen for what it is, an attempt to minimize the allegations of forgeries that he has to contend with. Ibe claimed that it has been established that Tinubu secured admission into the university by impersonation. He added, curiously, handlers of this same Bola Ahmed Tinubu have smuggled Adekunle, a middle name that magically popped up in his so-called National Youth Service Corps NYSC certificate into his Wikipedia on the 6th of October 2023. This may yet be another indication of a master forger at work. I kept hearing you, you were really finding this funny.
Absolutely.
All right, let me just pass it to you to give us your reaction.
I mean, here is the image of the number one citizen being battered globally, and we trivialize it with these distractions. So it's for me, it's funny. Yes, I agreed with the with the statement that those who want to go to equity should go to equity with clean hands. But we have an issue. If Tinubu was a private citizen, who cares? Whether he works for Mobil or he works for Shell, who cares? But you're taking the name and the image of over 200 million Nigerians, half of who have been very successful as medical doctors, as mayors, as whatever, all over the country. And to talk about the president himself to even resign, whether true or not, because he's a public servant number one. And so he's the eye of Nigeria globally. It affects me and you and all of us that are here, and it's affecting even certain professionals that are out there fending for their daily bread that we couldn't provide for. And so sometimes, it amuses me how our so-called rulers take delight in trivializing certain issues that are fundamental. Now, this is no longer about the political party. It's no longer about Atiku, Tinubu, or Obi. We are talking about our constitution that has emphatically stated that these are the criteria for an aspirant to have to contest. That is being brazenly flouted. We're not talking about it. Rather, we're trivializing it and talking about the man who brought it. So you now abandon the message and begin to focus on the messenger. No, it's not acceptable. We all cannot reason and behave in the same manner. Because we're not only talking about the Nigerian constitution, we're talking about the future of Nigerians when they step out of this country. Already now we are having issues of our Nigerian passports. Then you are now coming to trivialize such a global issue. The world are watching how we are going to handle this. And so I think that the APC and Tinubu, supporters should start having some kind of restitution mentality, restitution attitude, okay, and begin to apologize to Nigerians and look for a way to excuse the president out of that office, so that we can move forward. Because right now we're in limbo. We are just on standstill, and it's not acceptable. You want to go and you want a job in Atlantic Network Television. They ask you for 10 years experience, and they ask you for probably the master's or PhD. And then you want to become a president, they tell you you have to be primary school certificate attempted. And even at that, we still cannot produce what we have claimed to have achieved. Somebody engaged me not too long ago and was, through one of these international organizations. And I said to him, I said, look, I have verifiable records where I went to. And I quoted my matric number, U822657, University of Port Harcourt. And when did I leave the university? All over this number of years. Then a man cannot find his schoolmates, cannot find his classmates, cannot find... come on, what are we talking about here? So they should stop telling us about Atiku or B and whatever. Let's face the #1 citizen there. If he's not on that seat, well, that should be himself and his conscience and probably maybe security agents. We are talking about the #1 citizen of this country. Just like if you come to the state, the governor, or you go to the local government, the chairman. These people should have certain level of credibility, certain level of dignity.
Right, here is the very disturbing aspect of all of this whole conversation. We have not seen a proper presentation by the president. Each time this is in response to the APC filing a suit to the Supreme Court saying, hey, do not listen to what Atiku has brought and all of that. But looking at eBay, started with Dele Momodu, Frank Shaibu, a lot of them have spoken on this, and they have dared those who accuse that, those who have that family name as Tinubu. If it means anything to them that their children will go somewhere, as soon as they hear the name Tinubu, they are going to say, which of the Tinubu is this? If it means anything to them, do you think that they will be, because I'm going directly at those who should be impacted right now, do you think that they will be taking this as child's play the way they are taking it?
Definitely not. Because I'm sure that some of them who are out of this country will be hiding their faces. We don't need to wait for a court pronouncement before you feel the impact. Look, growing up, our parents used to tell us, value your name. Your name is worth a lot more than ill-gotten wealth. Yeah. And that is why at this particular period, you find out that when you go to the historical perspective, certain leaders we had from the 60s who have made a name. Well, sometimes we make reference to Azikwe, Tafawa Balewa and all that, Awolowo and all the rest of them. They didn't come through this criminal way. And that's why those names...
Sour grapes and the children's teeth has gone sour.
Absolutely.
All right, let's get to Nasarawa State. The All Progressive Congress National Chairman, Dr. Abdullahi Ganduje, says Nasarawa State belongs to the ruling party. According to Ganduje, who made the state APC chairman, Honorable Aliyu Bello in Lafia, the state capital, Ganduje further vowed to safeguard the electoral mandate of Abdullahi Sule. He said, we have won the election and we shall protect our mandate. There is no doubt about it. Nasarawa State belongs to APC and APC belongs to Nasarawa State. We are in charge and we will continue to be in charge by the grace of God. Recall that the Nasarawa State Election Petition Tribunal recently declared David Ombugadu of the People's Democratic Party as a rightful winner of the election. All right, here we are again. The tribunal have given a verdict. The national chairman is saying he's going to do everything to protect the party. This is looking like Bayelsa again. This is looking like President Tinubu boasting that he will win the election. That's like rabbits, do whatever it takes and all the rest. We are having these statements replicating the system and in different shades and in different forms. And when you have a national party chairman, because the constitution is a grand norm.
Absolutely.
In the Bayelsa election, he knew that, and then he made that statement.
Of the executives. And so don't be surprised that at 4 a.m. they will get up and tell us that they have amended our constitution. And then at 9 a.m. the president has signed the constitution, allowing anybody who has been nullified by the court to contest and also win election. I think that it's worth even having a civilian administration. Because everything we're doing is with such brazen impunity. How can a man comes and make a statement when a court of competent jurisdiction has made a pronouncement? Because it suits them, they are giving such a counter statement. But in other states, where the other opposition parties were nullified, we didn't hear such statements. And so there must be a common reference across the 36 states and the FCT that when a court of competent jurisdiction has made about how it's going to be at the Supreme Court, because right now I also have my own doubts.
Yeah, exactly, because how exactly do you expect people to believe that whatever...
Almost all the administrations, all those we have as either attorney generals or chief judges, sometimes it begins to make me to think whether they actually went through the processes. Because they sit there, they have the constitution, they have all the legal interpretations of similar cases, and then they just talk anyhow. And then they expect that the younger ones that are coming are going to be different from the precedents they are all setting. So let's wait and see how, when they take these cases to that higher level of the Supreme Court, how it's going to pan out to be.
All right. We hope that the right things will be done. The next conversation we have right now, Tanko Al-Makura, fondly called TAL, has cautioned the All Progressives Congress APC members in Nasarawa State to avoid rumor mongering and come together as one family if they love the state and the party. TAL made the call while delivering his speech at the reception organized in honor of the state party chairman, Honorable Aliyu Bello Al-Makura, warned that the party would only fail if there was no unity among its members. I call on us to please continue to work together. Let's avoid rumor mongering. Let's avoid anything that will bring disunity amongst ourselves. We have been together. We are together. And if we love this state, if we love this party, we should continue to be together as one strong, united family, he said. He also applauded the leadership style of the APC chairman. He hailed Bello's vast experience in politics and administration, stating his invaluable contributions to the growth and development of the party. We are very lucky to have, at this stage of the development of the party, someone like Aliyu Bello. This is someone who has cut his teeth in political activities and administration for so many decades. He said. Al-Makura described Bello's role as a unifying force within the party, pointing out his philanthropic activities, which he believes will garner support for the party across diverse segments of Nasarawa State, starting during student life. And when he got into the party mainstream, he has always participated as an insider, a team player, a very faithful friend to all and sundry. To add all, his philanthropic activities will be a plus for his position as the chairman, because it will galvanize support across the board of our party. Aliyu Bello has been an engine room of many political activities. With the coming of the APC, Aliyu Bello now becomes the engine room of APC in Nasarawa State, he concluded. Al-Makura has been a governor of the state. He has been a past governor of the state. And taking a cue from there, one would strongly believe that his words, as it's played out here, should be very convincing. Is that okay to take that stand?
Absolutely not. I say that because Al-Makura was a governor 8 years in the state. What were his achievements? I mean, let's use the simple things like education, health, road infrastructure, scholarship or bursary for the citizenry. I mean, where are you coming from? You see, like I said, when it suits them, when it's convenient, they come up with these templates that has been bandied here and there and try to hoodwink the poverty weaponized citizens to follow them. Otherwise, where is he coming from? Look, I'm sorry, I'm going to make a reference to a governor in Taraba State. I was listening to this governor in one of the televisions. Look, he's already a governor, and he's telling them like, pensioners are not going to be denied their payments. That when he retired from the military, he got all the entitlements and everything. That is the kind of thing I want to hear from our governors. Governor that will make verifiable statements. Governor that will be transparent enough to show governance. He said he's paying school fees for a lot of people that he doesn't even know. And those are the kind of track records that should inspire and motivate both the journalists